G'day, I'm Adrian from Using Technology Better, bringing you the latest updates and new release features with a side order of how they may make your day go a little bit better. So today, what's new for you in the Google space? And as you can tell, I'm sitting inside Google Sheets now, because what Google Sheets has done is it's just modified the way in which the data validation is done inside a spreadsheet. So let's have a look at how we can combine those smart chips, which have been sitting inside Docs for a bit, inside this space. Now there are two ways we can go about it. So here I am in my sheet. I'm just going to come up to A1 here and just type in at and just go drop down. What it does is it brings up this little menu here. When we click on that, what we see is on the right hand side across here, another kind of menu has appeared in terms of the way in which that data validation is done. Notice it still says where we're going to put that range. It's going to give us a drop down, but then we got these criteria that we can add and colored buttons. So let's have a look at how we do this from this manner. Now, this is a nice way of doing it, but there's another way which I find a lot easier that I'll show you in just a sec. So let's pretend that we've just got in here, our first option is red, and the next one is say blue. And let's add another item and go into here and go green. We can then come into here, of course, color those chips there. That looks pretty good, and then go done. Now, when we come across to here now and click on those things, we've now got those drop-down chips that actually appear inside our sheet, which are pretty handy. Now, the nice thing about this too, if you want to add formulas and things to actually add to it, that in this cell, what's actually being kind of stored is the word green. So if you wanted to have another formula coming off the back of here, so if this cell equals the word green, then do something, you can actually write it into here because it's using the word green, which you can see here, as its reference point. So that's okay. So that's the first way we can do it. Now, I like that way because it's nice and quick, but normally I have a list of things that I want to use for my data validation. So what do I do with this new kind of data validation format? So let's pretend that we've got down here, we've just got the days of the week that we're doing a planning day or something like this. And I normally write these down. Now, a little tip is once you've got two, you can just drag this down and you can have your other days there. Now, what I might do is I might kind of come into here and highlight it just a couple more cells down, and I'm just going to color it, and I'll show you why in just a smidge. So this is going to be my list here of the data that I want to use in my data validation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on this sheet. It can be on another sheet inside my Google worksheet here, workbook. So I'm just going to do it here for that demo. So let's pretend that what I'd like to do is put my drop-down list over here and refer to these ones in here. So if I come up to data validation, and in here it says I need to add a rule. So this is where it changes the view of it. So if I go add a rule, it's going to say, oh, it's going to be a drop-down. And so here's my criteria I can do. I can have a drop-down from a range. I can have text contains, so all my other data validation that I normally would have in here is sitting down here, but we've got this bit here drop down from a range. So if I grab that one, then it's going to say what range do you want to come to? Well, I want to grab this range in here. So let me just highlight all of these and go OK. And now you can see that I've got them filed in like that, which is pretty nice. If I then come down to the bottom, I can come to my advanced options, and in here, I can do a warning if it's not valid. I can change the way in which that chip looks. The arrow one in here is actually coloring in the whole cell with the red, with the color that you've got. And here it's just the plain text. I'm going to keep the chip because that's the new one here. Now let's go back up to the top here and let's change our colors around a bit. So I'm going to go into here and I'm just going to pick any random color because I can. And once I've gone done, I can close this off over here. Now I've got my drop-down list in here where I can pick my days. So it's quite a nice way of being able to do that. Now you would have noticed that I've got these extra cells down over here. I've got these 2 extra days over here. So let's pretend that we add in, of course, Sunday in here. And then come across here and go fun day. Then we can come back to this spot in here. We can go right mouse click if we want to, and come down to the bottom and got where it's got more cell options. Come to data validation. We come into here, for this is where we're working on it. And now you can see that it's added down the bottom here, those other 2 ranges, those other 2 names, because of the fact that we actually nominated the range of data we're going to come from is all this data, even though we only came up to Saturday. it knows that that range has got to be filled, and now it's added those 2 fields in there once we filled them in over here. So that's a nice little tip to be able to kind of make sure that you can update your list without having to go back and rechange all your data validation around. So I hope that helps. That's a really nice tip of using that new feature inside your sheet. Makes your sheets look a bit more graphically rich, but also gives some more functionality to it for people as well. Really handy if you're on a touchscreen device like a tablet, because these drop downs will work really nicely.